My name is David Ruben, and I've been practicing bankruptcy law in the state of Maryland since 1991. And every so often, I feel the need to make a video so that I can let people who are searching for bankruptcy lawyers, searching for information about bankruptcy. I want to update the video to give as much information as possible, as timely as possible. And what I mean by that is this video is being made toward the end of September, early October 2025. Why is that important? Well, because about 5 years ago with COVID, there were a lot of changes that went on, not necessarily with the bankruptcy laws. The bankruptcy laws haven't changed pretty much at all since 2005, but the types of situations that are leading people to file bankruptcy and the number of bankruptcies that are being filed in the state of Maryland and the reasons why they're filing have changed dramatically. We'll call it before COVID, shortly after COVID, and now in 2025 going into 2026. So the purpose of this video is to give you an update, essentially, of what's going on. After COVID, there were hardly any bankruptcies filed. Why? There were hardly any bankruptcies filed in the state of Maryland anyway. I can speak to the state of Maryland. However, the trends around the United States have been pretty much consistent. But after COVID, what was happening was law firms were not suing people for not paying their bills. They were not foreclosing on homes when they were behind on their mortgage. They were not garnishing people's wages for judgments that they had, partially because they weren't able to, because laws were put into effect to protect people after COVID. And secondly, they weren't doing those things because it just wasn't feasible. So many people were out of work, so many people didn't have money. And the firms that were doing these things, these creditors firms who take action against you, were not operating in normal capacity. Well, in about 2023, 2024, it all reversed. The foreclosures started coming, the wage garnishments started coming. People had gotten personal loans more than they had ever gotten post-COVID, even before COVID, and those personal loans are becoming due, people that were unable to pay them. And there are more lawsuits now, 2025, more foreclosures now than there have been in the past 10 to 15 years. And that's why the number of bankruptcies that we're filing, the number of phone calls that we're receiving on a daily basis has probably doubled in the last couple of years, and we don't see that changing, partially because the number of people who have fallen behind on their bills. And why have they fallen behind on their bills? Even though people are back to work again, because the interest rates that the credit card companies, that the personal loan companies, that the mortgage companies have been charging over the last 5 to 10 years have skyrocketed. And so when it comes down to it, even maybe you're making a minimum payment of $100 a month, you're not paying off your loan, and you're finding yourself deeper in debt, overwhelmed with debt, and need relief. And that's probably why you're coming to our website. At the Ruben Law Firm, I can confidently tell you that in 2025, as this video is being made, we file more Chapter 7 bankruptcy petitions than any other firm in the state of Maryland. Overall, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, we don't do business bankruptcies, which is Chapter 11. We do what's called consumer bankruptcies. Overall, adding Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, we file the second most consumer bankruptcies in the state of Maryland, but far and away more Chapter 7 bankruptcies than any other firm. As of October 2025, we can proudly say we have 2 full-time bankruptcy attorneys, we have 5 full-time bankruptcy paralegals, and we have other support staff that all contribute to the effort of providing the absolute best service possible while still remaining affordable fees, while still charging affordable fees. As of October 2025, we now have 5 offices. Our main office is in Glen Burnie. We have office hours 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Saturday mornings. We have a very busy office that we just opened up last year in Dundalk. We have an office in Westminster. We have an office in Stevensville, and we have an office in Columbia. As you can see, we're doing the best we can to service all of the state of Maryland and make it as convenient as possible. Interesting though, since COVID, and this is another COVID indicator, about half of our clients are doing everything virtual now. Bankruptcy, and I'll go into the process a little bit more later, is a process of doing a lot of paperwork and sending in documents and communicating with us to do paperwork. Well, post-COVID, everybody was doing everything virtually, even though we weren't doing that many bankruptcy petitions. Now that we're doing so many bankruptcy petitions, about half of our clients are very comfortable doing everything virtual. So if you live on the Eastern Shore, if you live on the Western Shore, if you live in Rockville, if you live in Westmont, even if you're not actually close to one of our offices, you don't have to come in if you don't want to. You can do everything virtual. In fact, even the meeting of creditors, which I'll talk about in another video, is virtual. You can do an entire bankruptcy petition, get all your debt discharged without leaving your home. It never used to be that way. On the other hand, about half of the people that we service are more comfortable making an appointment. They're more comfortable seeing somebody in person. A lot of times when we look for people online, we can watch as many videos as we want. We can read as many reviews as we can. And we, of course, encourage you to read our reviews because we think they're very good. And obviously, you're watching one of my videos now. But it's still something about the situation where you are spending a good deal of money and you're putting a lot of trust in this firm that you don't really know anything about. And a lot of people like to actually come in person, whether it be for the first initial consultation, whether it be after we get the process started. We want to drop off documentation and just say hi to Mr. Ruben or one of the lawyers or the paralegal that's working on our case, just to see that we're there. We're completely open to that. In fact, we encourage it. You're welcome to come by and see us anytime. We schedule appointments during the week. We schedule appointments on Saturday mornings. We're happy to meet with you. In fact, we find we like to put a name to a face more often than not if we can. But in the bottom line is, in the end, bankruptcy is a very stressful process, and we understand that, and everybody handles it differently. Everybody handles their stress and anxiety differently. Some people are embarrassed, and that's completely understandable, although we don't think you should be, and we don't judge you, of course, for what you're doing. But some people are embarrassed, and they don't want to come to the office. Some people want to come in and meet everybody because that gives them that sense of security. So from our perspective, what we're saying to you is whatever makes you the most comfortable, that's what we're willing to do. Like I said, we do more Chapter 7s than any other bankruptcy firm in the state of Maryland. Why is that? Why do people keep coming back to us to have us handle bankruptcies for their family, their friends, perhaps if they've done it more than once? Why do people always retain us after they've made that first phone call or that first contact form? Because our goal is to put ourselves in the shoes of the debtor. The debtor's going through a stressful situation, and what I've tried to teach my people from the top down, and what I think the people that work with me have embraced completely, is we try to put ourselves in the shoes of you, meaning we understand that you're going through a stressful situation. Bankruptcy, while it's important, of course, that we know the laws and we're able to execute on your bankruptcy and discharge your debts and accomplish the goals that we need to accomplish, it's not rocket science, if I may say so myself. It's not any lawyer that you use to do a bankruptcy, 99% of the time, we're going to get the same result. We're going to discharge your debts. But from our perspective, we're looking at it as if we want to not only discharge your debts and give you a fresh financial start, allow you to rebuild your credit and perhaps do the things that you want to do to support your family over time, but we want to make the process as stress-free and anxiety-free and easy as possible. To us, that's half the battle, because we want you to come out of this knowing that, one, all your debt was taken care of. We took care of everything for you. You're in a better financial situation. And two, it really wasn't that bad. We got through the process. Before we started, we thought it was going to be this horrible situation, and we were going to have to go to hearings and go in front of judges and pay a fortune and just be berated by trustees and stuff like that, and the creditors were going to call. We want you to know up front that's not the way it works, and through every step of the way, we want to make sure that you're comfortable and all your questions are answered and all your goals are achieved. I encourage you to watch as many videos either on my website, or if you're looking at YouTube or some other form of social media, that we have made to explain the bankruptcy process to you. We do that for a couple reasons. Obviously, primarily, we're hoping to get your business. We're hoping to do a bankruptcy for you. That's what we do every day. We obviously are here to make money and to earn a living, but we're also here to give people the best process or the best situation possible out of a bad situation, if you will. The videos on the websites explain everything to you. And if you end up using our services, great. If you end up taking these videos and ultimately file on your own, that's okay too. If our videos have helped you with that process, wonderful. And if you watch our videos and you end up using another firm for whatever reason, because you're more comfortable or something like that, whatever it might be, that's okay too. The goal for these videos is to give you as much information as you can. This is obviously something they don't teach you in school. It's not something that you can read about it on Google, you can read about it on ChatGPT, but it's a little more complicated than that, and there's a lot of questions that lawyers have to answer for you before you can really know what you're doing. So watch our videos, and in the end, if you have any questions, if you want to reach out to us through our contact form, if you want to call our office 24/7, if you want to schedule an appointment to get started or just to ask more questions, we're here, we're happy to help. And we would like to continue on to 2026 and beyond being the #1 consumer bankruptcy firm in the state of Maryland.